No, that's working, isn't it? That is working, actually. All right, good stuff. What is going on, everybody? We are just hanging here. X this out, X this out. We can X this out. X that. Reload that. Cool stuff. All right. So we are kind of preparing for Drachenfest, and Drachenfest is a pretty gigantic LARP that's happening in the United States on June 23rd all the way up to June 29th. That is approximately Monday to Sunday. So it is a pretty gigantic event, and it is crazy. And it's just going to be a lot of fun. I'm going to be there the whole time and then drive home. But it's inspired by Germany's legendary festival. Combines epic adventure, battle, celebration, medieval life, and a dynamic fantasy sandbox. So it's going to be a lot of fun. But tickets start at 2:30, and then admission covers 4 days of immersive gameplay, and you get at least 1 day of early arrival if you want to. And they have a bunch of stuff that they have. We're going to be staying in a hotel. We're not staying from, we're not getting a tent rental, and we're not going to set up a tent. We're going to just drive back and forth. It's easier because we're going to be using a light box to make scrolls for that. So we use one of these bad boys. It's going to be wireless. So eventually I'm going to have a wireless, a wireless light box to do my work on, and I'll be making scrolls. So it's going to be a lot of fun. We're going to be playing with some scrolls today. I'm going to show you the process in which I make scrolls and things like that. This will probably be broken up into several videos by the time I'm completely finished with it, and then it'll kind of be highlighted, but we'll go from there. So pretty simple stuff. But in the meantime, I want to double check the rules of the game. So if you are planning on going to Drachenfest, you can go to drachenfest.us, go to game info, go to the rules. There's some play options and their values and things like that as well. They tell you exactly what you should do. Essentially, you choose a camp. There's all these different colors. All of my friends are in green camp, so I'll be choosing green camp. It's fine. It's going to be fun. But green camp is all about growth and nurtureness and mercilessness and all this stuff. And so you choose a camp. And then there's also the bazaar. So you can take classes, dive into your niche. I will be taking a class for scroll making. Should be pretty cool. And then from there are rules. So the rules are really, really light, because a lot of the rules you kind of find in-game as well. So we're going to dive into the rule book a little bit. The most important part of the rule book for me is specifically going to be the pregame days. I'm going to look into this. I know Monday and Tuesday are essentially the pregame days. We'll be arriving on Monday, and I'll be talking to people, making a lot of friends, explaining what my character is going to be. I'm playing a LARP character named Theo. Theo is an artist. He uses magic to essentially create scrolls and give them to other people, and cast spells and stuff like that. So I don't plan on fighting too much in the game. It's more or less going to craft and role play and have fun as Theo. And I have a total of 4 or 5 different sets of outfits for him, and so I'll have different garb to wear. But Monday and Tuesday are basically the days where we talk to people. We're going to be talking to people in the green camp and other camps, helping out and going through that process. And then the game begins specifically on Wednesday. The most important thing about Wednesday is as soon as Wednesday rolls up and happens, we need to sign up to make scrolls. You have to go through a somebody said it's up to 6 hours. I think it depends on how well you are at drawing and how well you are at doing things. But there's excuse me, up to a 6-hour course on how to cast spells and how to make scrolls. And I also want to do alchemy. So there's going to be kind of a mix of things that I'm going to wind up doing. As far as, let's see, Saturday is the final battle. Teardown and departures on Sunday. Sunday is completely out of character. Basically, you spend all day on Sunday helping tear down and do everything. We're going to be completely torn down already and have everything ready from our hotel. But we're still going to show up on Sunday to help pitch in and break down the camp and help out. So the most important part is the 2 roles. So we can pick 2 different roles in the following list. Note that Crafter and Spellcaster are marked with an asterisk and can be picked twice. Oh, I didn't know that. That is new information to me. Okay. And you start with 2 HP and you get a max of 6 with items and rolls. Anyone can wear armor and wield a one-handed weapon or poorly defend but not attack with a two-handed weapon. Some roles are prop reliant. Healers should bring props for first aid and surgery. Warriors bring weapons and armor. Crafters bring crafting tools, real or fake, and some crafting materials. Spellcasters might need props for their spells and can contribute ritual tools to their camp, dragon, shrine. So, what's interesting is that the crafter role doesn't really have anything to do with scroll making, which is interesting, right? So, the crafter role is mostly specifically for using leatherworking and sewing tools, smithing to do restore metal armor, carpenters to fix broken shields and camp gates, and engineers to operate war machines. That is their big role. I really wanted to consider doing alchemy and creating alchemy ingredients, but the problem is that I want to do scrolls primarily, you know. So we go down to spellcaster role. Each time you take the spellcaster as a role, pick 5 options below. You can also conjure minor magical effects. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. So there's 16 spells here. And if I take the spellcaster roll twice, I can choose 10 out of those 16 and go from there. Okay. And each time, so how do you cast the spell? So you spend 15 seconds making noticeable gestures with at least one hand and chanting magic words. Any real or made-up language works. Just make sure your target sees you. Eye contact help. Then shout the spell's name to cast it. There's plenty of room for creativity. Do you read from a book, call on a higher power, pay a magical price, loud and clear. Casting is mentally exhausting. You can still fight, but you can't cast again for 5 minutes. The Magic Guild can teach you how to recover faster. And if you're hit while incanting, the spell fails and you're still exhausted. So if you get hit while you're casting a spell, yeah, it sucks. Touch-based spells must be delivered to the arm of willing or helpless foes. You can't cast in metal armor or anything that looks metal. We'll never have that on. Spells cannot be precast. Once you finish your 15-second incantation, a spell must be cast or abandoned. Spellcasters are vulnerable and are most effective when supported with teamwork. And then there's ritual magic, and then the Great Ritual Circle at the Bazaar. And interesting stuff with rituals. If you die in the Great Ritual Circle while a ritual is being cast, you don't go to Limbus, your soul is swept into the primordial stream and annihilated, permanently killing your character. See a ref. Very interesting. So you can permanently die in this game as well. So these are how the spells work. There is a multitude of spells, and we probably want to ultimately if any of these spells are not talked about. There's 16 here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. What spell is missing out of here that isn't on the list? Blindness, delay poison, dispel magic. Energy field, fear, friendship. Energy field, fear, friendship. Ritual magic, gust. Oh, ritual magic isn't on here. Oh, no, it is. Ritual magic, gust of wind. Healing touch, weakness. Weakness, magic armor. Orb of power, silent sleep. Orb of power, silent sleep. Smite monster. Smite monster. No, they're all here. Maybe there's only 15 and I miscounted. So, what are spells that are probably not spells that we want to take for putting them onto scrolls, right? Probably not Gust of Wind. I don't see people wanting Gust of Wind as a scroll. Okay. Delay Poison. Probably not a scroll that people want. Ritual Magic we can skip entirely. Smite Monster will be something that people will really want, I feel. Silence seems like something that people would want. You point at them and make them unable to speak or cast spells for at least 5 minutes. Sleep might be big. Point and make someone go to the nearest safe location and fall into a deep sleep for 5 minutes. So you make them go away entirely for 5 minutes. And then weakness is good. Orb of power is good. I think friendship is good. Just fun. I think we can not get energy shield. I think potentially we don't need energy shield. I'm not going to do that. So what are we looking at here? So blindness. Dispel magic, definitely. Fear. Friendship. Healing touch, 100%. Seems like really strong. Magic armor. Orb of power. Smite monster. Silence, sleep. Weakness. Is this 10 though? 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Okay, we need to get rid of one of these. One of these has to go away. 100%. It's probably gonna be fear. I feel like sleep is so strong. And I think friendship is just a good roleplay way and opportunity as well. I don't think it's something that should ever be yeah. Okay, that's going to be my spells. So we know how fighting is like. It's not real fighting, it's battle theater. Defeat is when it gets interesting. Looting stuff. And I want to find scrolls. Okay. The Magic Guild. So it's right here. Any spellcaster can join the Lyceum Arcanorum to learn a magical guild skill trainings to join a specialized collegium of magic. Getting access to new spells or perhaps learning how to write spell scrolls. Ritual casters harness the raw power of the primordial stream through the Great Ritual Circle. So the whole point is that I may even have access to new spells that aren't on this list, and I would have access to writing how to write spell scrolls as well. Oh shit, this wasn't even here before. Error not found. Okay. How do we join? Okay. I understand that joining the Mages Guild means I am part of the Bazaar, a neutral faction which does not take part in the Drachenfest tournament. I further understand that as a Bazaar player, I will not be able to win Drachenfest. I acknowledge that products and services I offer as a citizen of the Bazaar cannot be primarily traded for real-life currency. I acknowledge by completing this form does not confirm a ticket, and I will only be guaranteed my space at Drachenfest after purchasing an event ticket. Okay. Very interesting. So I can join the Magic Guild. Pursuers of Grey Magic learn the creation of spell scrolls, which grant non-spellcasters limited access to the power of spells. Yeah, that's... So Grey School is pretty much what I would have to do. Very interesting. Error not found. Error not found. So what if I choose like these other guilds? Do they bring me to... Pretty cool. That's just a Discord link. Okay. So I see. So the whole point of the guilds are that you could potentially join the guilds and you could potentially be a a person who has real life skills and you want to enhance the experience for fellow players, or you can potentially go through the process of uh, of participating in the competition and attending skill courses and engaging in guild roleplay, and use your newfound skills to help the camp win the contest. So potentially you could either join the guild and just be an all-around cool guy for everyone, or you could potentially go through the process of doing the guilds, which is pretty cool. I may join. I gotta think about that. So during the opening day of the event, guild leadership is happy to answer questions you have. You receive an entrance quest to complete before guild skill courses begin on Thursday afternoon, and then you choose your course. You can only add one guild skill to your character card per event. So pick what's going to be the most fun for you. Potentially, I basically couldn't do alchemy. I would have to do the scroll stuff because I have all my scroll potential stuff. So, be part of the day-to-day running of the guild during the festival and help out behind the scenes, create a fun, immersive, and inclusive environment for your fellow players. As a Bazaar player, you'll be part of the neutral faction that does not participate in the contest itself, but instead spends lots of time in a town center full of activity. Full-time guild players play the skill course trainers, administrators, archivists, contest judges, and researchers that form the backbone of the guild, but also have the ability to pursue their own stories, both within the bazaar and in the camps, with the support and guidance of guild leadership. Your character might teach a class, hire themselves out as a mercenary, join the Dragon Egg competition, tend the garden, host a public demonstration of alchemical prowess, conduct a long-term study involving players across multiple years, maintain the guild archive, or any number of things you could dream up. If you love storytelling, prop building, or teaching, or have out of game knowledge that would be relevant to our domains of play, or you want to dedicate more of your gameplay experience to the guild, we'd be happy to have you aboard. I think I'm going to apply, actually. Yeah, after stream, I think I'm going to apply to the Mage Guild. Because this made sense. Now I understand I could join the Mage Guild and make it, understand it. There's just nothing else here to to give me any information. This is it, So then they have the game calls and effects. Any information on that, so. Pretty cool. Pretty cool. So we're gonna make something today. Kind of what we came here for, right? So we're gonna do some art today. We have a few things already uploaded, things that I've done in the past and things that I've worked on in the past. Let's go to tools. Let's see. So we want to make a scroll based off of a spell that we want to do, right? So we want to look at blindness first. Out. I'm just gonna put blindness in there and just see what it says. This is actually pretty cool. I do like the sheet over the eyes. Let's try again. I do like this though. The problem is that if we're gonna be making scrolls, I think that you have to give it more time, or you have to have. I don't like that. That's pretty good, though. I do like that. That's a nice close-up, too. I do actually like that a lot. So let's think about how we would imagine this scroll to be, right? So blindness. First thing we want to do is we want to draw this and put it, somewhere in the space. We want to make a scroll, and typically a scroll is a large sheet of paper, but it can be a lot smaller. So we can do like a small piece, small, you know what I mean? We can cut it out. So what we want to do is we want to give ourselves a bit of room. But we want to be reasonable to ourselves as well. Let's give ourselves some elements here. Zero, please. Probably a way to do this without having to fiddle with it. There we go. Okay. That's the middle. Okay. So this is the middle. So we can kind of play around with this a little bit. All right, so let's do that as blindness for today. Let's do a dispel magic. Medieval dispel magic. Ooh, I like this one a lot. That is very pretty. I feel like this one would be pretty tough to draw, but I mean, I'm up for a challenge, so I'm not too worried about it. Hey! Well, what's going on? Yeah, this will be challenging to draw, but I'm totally up for it. To see what I can do with this, essentially. Very interesting. Friendship. Friendship. Could do like that. That way we kind of have a little bit of a symmetrical. Ooh, I like that actually. I feel like this would be pretty easy to duplicate. Okay. And healing touch. Healing touch. Let's see. That's pretty good. Even if I'm not getting the background, just getting the bodies and the hands there. All right. So what is this? Well, all right, so we have to look at these. .360. So let's do 365 by 365. Let's make sure these are all 365 by 365. That fixed itself. Ooh. Let's try again. 365 by 3. Yeah, that's perfect. Okay. Okay. So the plan for us is to potentially, now that we've made these, and this is going to be blindness, this is going to be dispel magic, this is going to be friendship, this is going to be healing touch. Now our plan is to potentially print this out and to draw it. Now we're not going to draw these lines here, but we are going to, those lines will give us an understanding as to where our cutoff is. And we can kind of make this a little bit more centered too. We are good on the centering. Is this off? No, it's not off. That's good. Okay, cool. So that way these, it's basically one sheet can potentially be up to 4 different scrolls. There you go. All right, so next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna download this. And then when we download these, we download them as PDF. So they're the best for printing. Okay, so this is what we have. That's what we got from that. And then we're gonna print it. We only print it in black and white, so the bottom right-hand side, it's in black and white. It looks like it came out okay, so that's good. We make sure that it fits. We're not worried about actual size. Here we go. This is the fun part. This is where we start to draw, basically. So now you understand how I do it. Cool. Alright, so now we have that done. Let's go to this. Okay. So now you see that this is done. It's all set. Looks pretty. We're going to take our sheet of paper, and we're going to take our painter's tape, and we're going to tape this on top. And we're going to center this. So even as it's centered, it's still not going to take up a ton of space. We still have some borders that are available. So there's a bit of a gap because the regular sheet of paper is still 10 by 13, I think, or 11 by 13. Whereas a sheet of paper is 8.5 by 11. So it's cool stuff. All right. And then we're going to make sure that we tape, but we're going to make sure we're taping in areas where we're not going to draw, because obviously we don't want to physically have to draw around our tape. Kind of weird, right? You really don't need that much tape either. I mean, we're looking at like little pieces. You're not cool if you put a ton of tape on. It's quite the opposite. It ends up being a situation of trying to take it off after you're done with it. Okay. Let's go with number 4. We want to tape the top, the bottom, and the sides. Okay. So that's basically what it looks like. Now what we're going to do is we're going to put this onto our light box with the sheet that we just taped facing down. And we're going to put the clip on it. If you really need more than just the clip on it, you can go ahead and tape that on as well. And then we're going to plug this in. This is my non-wireless one. I have 2. I have a wireless and I have a not wireless, but this is my non-wireless. Okay. Are we plugged in? Real question of the day. May not be plugged in. Oh, okay, let's take a look. We are not. We are unplugged. Okay. Okay. So now we're plugged in. Now we're going to turn this bad boy on. So what I see is that right there. So that's what I see. And I can draw over this. And this is just the regular paper portion. And what we just printed is behind it. So now we need to make this into art. Really simple. Or, well, yeah. So the first thing that I do whenever I'm looking at art, let me see if I can help you guys out here. Alright. So we're going to position this in a little bit, but the first thing that I look at when I look at this art is I look at how difficult the lines are going to be and what I want to do with the details. So I look at these right here. So like these have very fine detailed lines, very poignant lines. So these lines are going to be very easy to draw. Then I see some of the shading. That's going to be really fun to go ahead and dot and make into nice designs. This came out beautifully. It's going to be very easy to go ahead and do this design piece. If you see here in the middle, this little ring, this ring is going to be pretty difficult to do as far as to make it a pretty design, but I'm basically going to do my best and try to wing it. Then when we look down here, the twinsies laughing at one another looks very good. Like this turned out really well. And it looks like this will be very easy to draw. And then when we look over here, the same thing. This turned out really well. It's very clear, it'd be poignant to draw. So everything all in all really looks good on a generalized standpoint. Like everything looks pretty perfect. So what do we have to do now? We have to get to drawing. And so how do we do that? So I will show you and we'll try to figure out how to do the camera situation. I'm just kind of winging it. So if it looks like shit, sorry, we'll fix it on the next stream. This is only day 1. So, okay. Let's move this. Let's put this up here. Okay. So, yeah, I'll clean my desk tomorrow. Sorry, guys. Anyway, so this is the... We can actually rotate this like this. Maybe, if we're lucky. Maybe. Trust in the system, right? Alright, we're gonna do it this way. Sorry, guys. Cool. Just how it's gonna be. Okay, so what do we do from here? What's the game plan? Well, we're gonna start drawing. And so I use Faber-Castell pens. These are the pens that I use. Faber-Castell. Super poignant, super useful. All different sizes. This is the one that I recommend, the Manga Black set. It's just super useful. You get really clear, concise pen work. Honestly, even when the pens kind of dry up a little bit, it's even still very useful when they're dry. And then, so what we're looking for now is we're looking for our small pens. So we go through here. We're going to look for our 0.0. This is our 005. We're going to use that today. We're going to use our fine today. We're going to use our extra small today, which is 0.1. And we're going to use our small today, which is 0.3. Okay? So usually those are my cream of the crop bread and butter pens, those 4. I'm going to order more. You get all of them from this 4-pit artist pen Manga Black set. So like legit, this is what I recommend. I don't have like an attachment to Amazon or anything like that. It's just, that's what I recommend. If you don't want to do that, then don't do it. I'm not going to stop you. But if you're just getting into art, I highly recommend it. So I like to look at these a little bit. The fine one is a little thick. I always try to remind myself like what the pens look like, and you could barely see the tip on that. Basically what I use to start. Now, anytime I ever start art, I'm always kind of shaky at first because, you know, you're just kind of getting back into it. I haven't drawn anything in about a week and a half. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to start on this piece, and then we're going to move on to probably this piece, and then we're going to move on to these 2 pieces. This piece right here with all the design work is going to be the hardest piece. And for obvious reasons. So, you know. And what we do have to practice is that we have to write down some words at the bottom to signify what we want the players to say when they cast the spell. We have to probably, it's probably going to be Latin, or it could be French. I don't know. Could be made up words. It's a LARP. So I always like to start with some of the bolder lines and start with some of the framework of the face and kind of go from there. We see that the eyes, there are no eye design or eye anything. It's just all black to kind of signify like that they're blind. So, and then we have to look at the line work around the head itself. So we know that the line work around the head itself is going to be pretty easy, so we're going to just make that line now. And honestly, when you're starting art, don't be afraid to make a little mistakes. You know, I make mistakes all the time with my art, and shit happens, man. So what we're doing is we're giving ourselves a framework. It may seem like I'm kind of like drawing all over the place, but what I'm doing is I'm giving myself a little bit of a framework as to what I want to do next. So it's 5:04. I don't know what they require you, how much time they require you to use for scroll work. So let's say it requires 20 minutes. So we're going to do a 20-minute freestyle fast thing. So at 5:24 we have to start doing the words. So let's try to get that done. Okay. The other important part about these pieces is that sometimes there are different things on here that you see that you don't necessarily have to recreate. Like some of the shading that's on here, you don't want to recreate that with lines. You typically want to recreate that with pitting. And so don't be afraid to ignore spots, at least temporarily, until you're prepared to go ahead and work on those spots later on. And honestly, your project might change to something completely different by the time it's all said and done. And once it changes, there's no downside to that. And the reason why we do these practice ones is because this can look absolutely terrible by the time I'm done, but that's okay. This is not a problem at all. That's kind of the reason why we do these things. I always find that looking at these pieces at the very beginning is really, really difficult. But then once you get to the end of the piece, it feels a lot more cohesive. So I always tell people that consider drawing for the first time that make sure that everything that you do is important in your piece. Every
brush stroke that you do on a painting is important. So every single thing that you draw is just as important. Don't be that guy who's like, oh, I just put that on there and it wasn't important, because it is. It's just as important. Okay. Doing some blotting a little early here. Some dark blotting. So when I say blotting, I'm taking my pen and I'm just dotting the paper, and that's representing shading. And there's different ways to do this. You can do dark versions of this, or you could do light versions of this, and depends on the thickness of your pen and depends on what type of scope you're trying to get on your project. So, you know, the different types of shading matters because you're adding depth to your project and to what you're doing. And sometimes you just want a shadow altogether. Like the eyes themselves are black. So sometimes I would switch to another pen for that, but we don't really need to do that as long as it looks dark. As long as it looks dark. And so we're doing a little bit more blotting down here near his chin. Okay. When you do dotting or blotting, make sure that it's not uniform. You don't need the dots to be uniform unless they represent something, or else it kind of looks weird, you know? So kind of practice not making a pattern, which is a little difficult because, you know, it's your brain really wants you to make patterns for things. So don't. Don't do it. Okay. And sometimes it's good to turn off the light just to see what it looks like. And it looks good, actually. It looks pretty solid. It looks like a head. So then we're going to go ahead and do the rest of the body now. Again, we're using the same pen. We don't have to use the same pen, but we are. Normally at this point I would switch to a thinner pen, but depending on how long you're supposed to take to work on a scroll, you know, if they tell us it's 30 minutes or if they tell us it's 20 minutes and then you're done, you might have somebody who's patiently waiting while you're making a scroll. Okay. And there's a line through here. through there. We have him holding a sword. Do some blotting there to show that off. And be careful when you're doing thin blotting. When you have thin parts, be careful that you don't put a dot outside of the lines that you made, because otherwise it's not going to make any sense at all. So don't do that. All right, so we have a sword here, and we have his hands left, and pretty much nothing else left, which is great. So it's 5:13. We have about 9 minutes left before we've hit 20 minutes. So let's make his little armor. Okay. What we're doing now is we're actually adding shading to the armor bit. The armor bit looks pretty good, but we're just adding a little bit of shading to that. Adding an extra line so it doesn't look like it's just coming out of nowhere. Okay. Add a line there. Give ourselves a few dots here for some shading purposes. A few thin sporadic dots there. A lot of dots here. I love shading with the dots. It is almost like a cheat code for shading, and it's honestly one of the ways to add so much depth into your art when it's black and white. Okay, it's 5:16. We have, what, 6 minutes? Okay. Line there. Line here. Line here. Okay. Then we turn this off just to look. looks pretty neat. Okay, we're going to try to get the hand done here. Get these knuckles in. Okay, let's get some shading in here. So again, because we're doing this fast, we didn't change our pen out, but I probably would have changed my pen to a bit of a thinner one to go ahead and work on the sword, because the sword has a bit of thin pen work that's involved. Would not have been a terrible idea, but we will make it work. Remember that very short strokes are your friend in this situation. When you are doing thin work, just go ahead and do small brush strokes, small pen strokes. You will be just fine. Or don't, just do whatever you want. I mean, you know. Or do whatever you want.
So far, we have this. And we're at 25 minutes.
It's pretty good, actually.
Or 20 minutes? That's 20 minutes. And so we just have to still make the... We still have to make the blade. And we have to make his hand. But, other than that, we're in pretty good shape. And then we have to make the writing. So... let's give ourselves another 10 minutes. And then it should be all done.
Drawing hands in pen work is always rough for me. I'm not the king at it by any stretch of the imagination. But it's fun to do. Put some dots there to signify that. Sword. Sword gets some significant dottage there. For the most part, everything that's left is shading. Which is good. A few lines on the knuckle here. The original photo, okay. So the original photo actually has different knuckles going out like that. That's why it's always good to look at the original when you can from time to time, so you can see what the heck you're doing. Sometimes it's easier to understand the interpretation of the art. That's why I will typically print 2 copies of these. Let's take a look at it. Yeah, I actually think that's pretty good. We would write down, we would use probably a 1.5. 1.5 is kind of a marker. I don't want to really use a marker. I would use not a fine though. SB? Yeah, SB. Alright, so we want that as blindness. So look at what the gotta go to Drachenfest and pull up the rule book again. I like it. Oh boy. I hate this pen though. Oh god. Okay. It's not gonna. That's not it. Oculos. Eus. Caligine. Orb. Pixie. It. Datis. Est. A. Tenebratum. Casitas. Text could have been better, but that's okay. Text could have been better. Whoop. Pretty good. That's a scroll done in about half an hour. Not bad at all. Decent detail. Everything done right. Looks pretty. I think somebody would be really happy with that. It's a half page. As you can see, it's like a half page. And I have all this to kind of work with. So realistically speaking, I could have written it larger. But yeah. Pretty cool. Let's move on to the next one. Next one's down here. We're not doing the background, we're doing the woman and the man that's laying there, and the woman that is giving the healing touch. So that is what we're working on. See if we have any messages. Okay. Let's keep going. Let's take a picture of this in the meantime. Okay. All right, so we are going to go with the thinner pen. This is specifically the .005.
because actually, I guess I want to work on this. I guess my brain is telling me to work on this one, so I'm gonna work on this one. I'm gonna use the 0.005, which is our thinnest pen. I'm probably gonna use the 0.005 for the entirety of it because it's a lot. It's a lot of line work. It's a lot of shading. It's gonna take some time, but it's 100% worth it. So let's see how much we can do. Let's try to focus on the woman first and then focus on all the background afterwards and see how much time we have. It's 5:34, so let's see what we can do. Let's go from there. We're working on our hands first just because we can. Seems like an easy step overall. A little bit of blotting as we go so that we don't go crazy. Get her other hand done. This is kind of what I like about this pen too, is that the thinner the pen, the more forgiving the pen work is. Okay. Okay, so the hands are pretty much finished. Little lines here for the doing lines for her little robe.
need probably some serious shading too. Let's take a look at the actual picture. Zoom in. Okay. Let's see. Hmm. Stronger line work here. Okay. This is a tough one, actually. I'm surprised. No, I'm not surprised. Well, that eye kind of turned out okay-ish, kind of. I don't know what I'm doing with these lips. They're all sorts of fucked up now. Oh well. That's why you have practice. It may not turn out that bad, actually. We'll see. Horns. Ah, it's not too bad, actually. Wild hair. I dotted this area so that it was distinctively different. I need to do better dotting. here. Okay. That's a collar, huh? Where we at? We're at 550. We actually are making pretty good time. Let's take a look at this. Not terrible, actually. Not bad. Needs a little bit of shading on the hands. Probably the rest of it goes to shading. Probably where we're at. And the words. The shading is going to make this pop off. That's really where it's going to be at. Close these up here. Turn the light off just to take a look. And let's okay. Get a regular pen. Okay. Vincula. Incantationis. Rupe et Bala Fugata Sunt Per Evils Sionum Magi. I actually think this needs a little bit more shading too. Let's do that. So we have lots of time. We have a lot of time. Shading on this piece is going to make the big difference. Once I'm done with it, you're going to be like, wow. We did change pens to a thicker pen for this part. We want a thicker dotting for the most part for this part. I'm a bit hungry. Surprised how hungry I am, actually. What did I say? 532? 533? Half an hour piece. I like it. Ooh, that looks spicy. Look at that. Come on. About a half an hour. Pretty good. Okay. All right, guys. My hand is a little tired, so I'm gonna do the rest of these tomorrow. Specifically healing, touch, and friendship. But thank you so much for hanging about. I'm gonna take pictures of these and post them and go from there. But I appreciate you guys, and have fun. And I'll see you all tomorrow. Fun.